the actual red line. Defenders,
I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on, Ian. People deluded. I'm back again. As the headline says here, every word from Mikel Arteta's pre-Brentford presser. As you lot already know, we face off away to Brentford in the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. It's an opportunity to win a league title. Of course, we'd rather aspire for the Champions League, the league, and our trophy, the Arsenal FA Cup. But the League Cup presents an opportunity for us to win stuff, and you're in it to win it. Obviously, it's not the biggest of priorities. Allegedly, Saka might be a doubt for the weekend. There's still no Trossard. Who knows? I'm sure you've all seen the media outlets all reporting. So let's get straight into what Mikel Arteta has had to say on team news, on specifically Rice, Trossard, Martinelli and Partey. Declan Rice hasn't trained yet. Obviously, he could not carry on in the game. He wasn't comfortable at all. Hopefully, it's not something big. We are confident he's still uncomfortable. Obviously, he had to leave the pitch, and that's never a good sign for a player like him. But hopefully, he will progress in the next few days. It's a tough one. Leandro won't be available for tomorrow. So, yeah, it is concerning because, you know, Declan Rice is a very durable player. You never hear about him being injured for club and country. Obviously, it's a North London derby, and just the man he is, I don't think there's any player at Arsenal Football Club that won't put their body on the line or doesn't want to play for the club. So, of course, that's concerning. Obviously, we've got more injury concerns than we can count, and every day puts a new spanner in the works. Bukayo Saka's probably got a knock now. We're going to get into that. Trossard, Rice, Martinelli, Partey, Timbers, a long-term absentee. Jesus and Zinchenko have had knocks, and there's probably some that I'm simply put missing out, people. So that's a bit of pill to swallow. You hope Declan Rice can recover at least for Bournemouth, even if he's fit for tomorrow. Be on the bench, spectator settings, really and truly. And if Saka is even available, wrap the man up in cotton wool. It's a bit of pill to swallow because we're in the thick of the League Cup, the Champions League, and obviously the Premier League. And we've got some big games, Chelsea, City, away trips to Lens, who are a physical side, etc., to come up. And we're playing twice a week, every 3 days, more or less, people. So we have to see. Let's see day by day how he improves and whether he's got a chance for the weekend or not. He did some activity and that's where he felt it. He wasn't comfortable to carry on the session the day before the game and he hasn't trained yet. So that's probably why you saw Jesus out wide and then Ketia through the middle. Let's see if we still have this for the weekend, but those players won't be available tomorrow. Thomas is still not available either. It's a long list, as you said. It's the same with Timber. You know that one. And it's a situation we have at the moment. We have to adapt. The squad that we have at the moment is really short and we need players back, that's for sure. Injuries can cripple any team. And this has probably been a bit of an extreme one, but we knew the landscape. We knew there was more fixtures. We can't really feel sorry for ourselves. On addressing mistakes that cost us at the weekend, mistakes and errors are part of football. It's inevitable and it happens 100%. But we got to mitigate against it, big man. Sometimes you have to be lucky when you made that the opponent doesn't punish you. It wasn't the case. Obviously, when the ball lands to Maddison, they have Son in front of the ball. It cannot get any worse than that. Facts, Gaffer. They proved the quality that they have to finish those actions off. Really, you know, they made those 2 goals out of nothing, but that's what good teams do. That's what good players do, and they did that, and we've done that to other teams. It's a shame because that was the moment, the turning point in the game to be on top. It was probably the best moment that we had in the game, but we have to accept that as well. When that happens, there are other factors as well that contribute to it and move on. On how much we need the strikers to start scoring more, the whole team, and I think we need to improve our chance creation, and naturally chance conversion should get better. Eddie had a huge chance as well, 1-1 before 1-0. Then Gabby had another one, but again, those are defining moments in big games. You have to be there in the box and make the difference. We talked about it after PSV that we were exceptional, and then 3 days later we lacked that as well to win the game. But this is football. It is football, but that tells you about the consistency, and maybe we need to be more clinical in terms of the individuals we have, create and ultimately convert more chances, or maybe bring someone else that can help us ultimately go for a team that scored 80 odd goals last season to a team that's on 100 really. On missed chances, because it's the hardest thing in football to put the ball in the back of the net at the right moment with the right time. It changes and every striker misses chances. Facts. You see it all across the league. It's efficiency that we have. But at the weekend, we didn't have the efficiency we needed because the game would have changed in a really positive way for us. On being able to use Raya against his current club, technically, Brentford are still employing, but former club. We all trained today. The lineup, I could not make it because there are still some players that are still doubtful tomorrow. So that scares me. You know, I hope he's talking about the ones that he's spoken about before and not necessarily more. So we'll decide tomorrow what's the best team to put out there. At the end, we have to go game by game. The importance is performing and winning the next match because that's going to help you win the next one and focus on that. On Saka's dart celebration, people are doing too much. It's a bit of banter. You know, Saka's got egg on his face. You know, him and Maddison probably running banter. you know, on WhatsApp and in the WhatsApp groups and in the international period. Personally, I enjoyed Maddison's comments after the game. I enjoyed Saka. It's a bit of bants, man. And let's be honest, when you look at other sports, more so NBA, for one reason or another, there isn't really personality, or players are not able to convey their personality in the Premier League or specifically England. So it's a bit of banter. Obviously, Saka did that. Madison made him put egg on his face and move on. You know, Saka did it against Rashford, but we need to make sure we win the game. And if someone does Saka celebration, anyone else, it is what it is. I don't pay too much attention to that. They're free if they want to do it. They do it for a reason. Probably I'm the last one to understand the reason behind it, because they just talk about it in the dressing room between them. They're free to do whatever they want if it's always respectful for the opponent. What we're doing is not putting someone down or doing something that is against our values. On specifically Saka's fitness, now that's what we care about in relation to Bukayo Saka. Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed so far. He was limping quite badly after the game, as you know. We had to get him off the field, which is never a good sign as well. He hasn't been able to participate in the session, which scares me. On if he could be out for the game on Saturday against Bournemouth, it's a possibility, yes, which, boy, respectfully to Bournemouth, we should have enough. But at the end of the day, you know, you need your best players, and we need that confirmation of 3 points, because I'm sure we've got City after that. We should have enough, but to have no Trossard, potentially no Saka, no Martinelli, who the hell is going to play? You do have the element of Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, Jesus can obviously play out wide. Technically, Havertz can play. It does open up, you know, maybe using a young player in Ethan or Koza Dewberry to at least be on the bench. So we'll have to see. On whether we'll look to bring a striker in January, we're not thinking at all about that. I think it's not the biggest priority, but, you know, when you and Eddie are speaking, I'm sure you're talking about what we could do in January, not just in terms of striker, but all over the field. You know, we could probably do with another defensive body in defense with Timber's injury and play, you know, us having to make basically Benjamin White, Gabriel Saliba, we're going to have to play a lot. I personally still believe we need a central midfielder or maybe two. Don't expect that in January. And obviously, we've been linked with Ivan Toney, so that could be the focus. We have really good players up front. It's true that now we have some injuries. We'll continue with the players that we have. That's for sure. We've got no choice. On how Jesus is performing, well, he had a big impact in many areas of the pitch on the weekend, and he was really, really helpful in many moments when we became really dominant through our high press with the moments that he produced. It's true that the final third, we need to produce more. We have to be more ruthless there, and we all know that, and we have to help the players to improve that. True, I would say Jesus and Havertz, I think Arteta, they need the most work in terms of converting chances. Everybody but them. Yeah, Jesus, the high press worked. I mean, Jesus nicking it off Maddison and then skying it over summed up Jesus, in my opinion, that he's a fantastic player, wonderful player, provokes Havertz, brings the streets to the Premier League. But ultimately, the hardest thing to do is put the ball in the back of the net, and you can improve in that. Many players have shown that. But to a degree, I do think strikers are born, not made. And I think Jesus is a wonderful player, but I don't think he's necessarily a natural born goal scorer. I think Eddie is. Whether he's able to convey that to a suitable standard for Arsenal Football Club is another debate in itself. And I do have to say, Gaffer, you know, unless Jesus had an injury, you know, and it was a tactical decision, I don't understand personally taking off Jesus for and leaving Eddie Nketiah on the pitch, because it looked like Jesus was more likely to make something. If it was a tactical decision and it worked, which it didn't, then we'd praise Arteta, but you're going to have to live or die by that. On how Gabriel has done since returning to the team, yeah, I think he was very good. I think at the weekend he had a really good game, and he continues to perform the way he did last year. On whether if the number of injuries can be linked to the Champions League, we've only had one Champions League game, you know, and it's still early. It's true that they've played with the national teams, and it comes from a season where they had the World Cup and some players played 60-odd games. You know, it's a lot of things. But as well, we've been really unlucky with the injury of Timber, for example, which is for other reasons. Bukayo was because they stepped in. There are some dramatic injuries, others that are more muscular, and we need to find the right reasons to try to avoid them, but they're part of football. That's also concerning, the number of muscular injuries we've picked up. Pardon me, but I'm not a doctor or a physio or any of those things to really comment on such people. On the Carabao Cup presenting a chance to rotate, well, there are a lot of players that need minutes, that's for sure. You can go through the squad, and some players haven't played that many minutes, and tomorrow they're going to have exposure for sure. On if that will involve young players, it can include that, yes. On the fixture schedule, and if we can take risks with certain players, well, it's true that a lot of internationals in the last few windows, and they've had quite a lot of exposure to minutes, but at the moment we have a squad that is not 24 players. You know, to change 11 or 12 players tomorrow is just not a possibility. that we have in the squad, on if the traditional number 9s have become rarer in the modern game. Well, I think it's coming back. There are a few players, and when you look at Harry Kane, you look at Haaland, you look at Højlund, you look at Tony, ooh, that would be of interest. You have a lot of examples. You look at Mitrovic, there are a lot of examples of players that score a lot of goals. We have scored a lot of goals last year. I think we scored more goals than any other season for Arsenal. So there are various ways to score goals, and we are scoring goals, but we should have scored many more from what we've created, that's for sure. On Ivan Toney said, I don't know, you have many examples. You look at Everton, the type of striker they have, that is related to their style as well, and how they contribute to that. I think they have a really strong squad. They've been doing terrifically well in the last few seasons. Credit to Frank and his coaching staff, because what they've done is incredible. On chance creation, and if he's concerned about the lack of creating chances, I think that's almost more of an important debate than talking about another striker, because there's got to be a reason in terms of output or just effectiveness of our players in central zones. I know Jesus drops deep, but there's a lack of touches, and I don't think we're creating enough for all our players, really and truly. Like, we could bring in a new striker, but you know, it's like buying a PlayStation and not having sockets to plug it in and ultimately get electricity. Is not going to make sense. It's dependent on how you analyze that and what you take away from it. If you take that last pass or the last two passes into the zones, because the positions that we get in and against the block that we defend, the position that we put our wingers in, our stat is higher than anyone else in the league. But to produce then the moment that replicates that stat is too simplistic. On whether the team should be getting more credit for the results this season, I think it's the expectations that we've created as well as the culture that we've created. We want to win every single match. So yeah, we have won 6 matches, drawn 2, won a title, English Super Cup, and it's not enough. You know, we have 6 top players injured. It's what it is. We want to get better, that's for sure. On what is still to come from the team this season, yeah, for sure we want to get better. But on Wednesday night we were incredible. It was a joy to watch. We were incredible, and 3 days later you draw a match in the conditions that you draw. You have to improve, but certainly about the consistency and hitting that level that we want every day, we have to improve, that's for sure. We want to be better. I don't think anybody can disagree with such people. So yeah, man, Trossard won't be available. We don't know for Declan Rice. Saka, it's in the air. We know Partey and Timber won't be back anytime soon. There are rumors that Martinelli and Partey and potentially Trossard could be back around the City game or even before that. But we have to get on with it. Injuries are not exclusive to us. While we've been clearly given the short straw. You know, you look at United's injury since the start of the season, you look at Chelsea's, again, it could always be better, it could always be worse. So it's down to us to potentially rotate players, our recovery to be better. You know, obviously training and football matches are going to be intense, but maybe there's something we could do in relation to that, really and truly. Ultimately, just have a bigger squad, because when you do take a couple of players out of Arsenal, you do see the knock-on effects of our not quite having the same liquidity in our game or efficiency in the way we're zipping the passes. So yeah, man, it's disappointing to hear that around Saka. We'll keep our fingers and toes and everything crossed, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to get on with it, regardless of who's fit or who's not. We're gonna live or die by the strength of the squad. And it does make you think: did we actually improve our squad depth, or did we go backwards, or did we sit sideways in that regards? Because when everyone's fit, we've got a bundle of options, but as you've seen, it looks a bit different now. So yeah, let me know your opinions on everything we've discussed. Let me know your opinions on Bukayo Saka's injury. Let me know your thoughts on if our squad depth has improved. Please leave a comment. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notification bells, and don't forget, tomorrow against Brentford we kick off at 7:45. So I'll be live from 6:45. I hope to see you all then. Check out the rest of the other vids. As you know, I'm always bringing out videos for you lot. Most importantly, I hope you and your loved ones are in great health. Stay safe, stay blessed. One love.
There's always just that active red flag, defending.
I think it's like